Hey everybody, welcome to the Behind the Drywall podcast brought to you by the Handy Dog. We are a local New Jersey handyman company looking to change the game as far as how handymen are represented and how companies are run. Next to me are my brother Matt, my brother from another mother Tom, and my other brother from another mother Mike, whom I went to college with. We're all Rutgers alumni. I, of course, dropped out. They all graduated. But we're here to bring you Behind the Drywall to talk about the things that go on behind the scenes of the home renovation business, and more specifically, what a handyman is and what a handyman service should look like. All right, so what are we talking about today? We're talking about how does one arrive, like what is a handyman as we define it, our company, right? And how does one arrive here? So I think a good thing for everybody to do would be to say, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when someone asks you what a handyman is? And that's including Mike. So let's do that real quick. Just a short answer. What if someone says, what do you think a handyman is? How would you define a handyman? Mike, you go first.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. How would I define a handyman? Basically, you need something done in your house, whether it's a small project, whether it's to fix a problem or to do like a small job, and you need somebody who can do a variety of different things. And you want somebody dependable that you can call that's going to come over and do it. You basically want, kind of like a jack of all trades in that sense. That's kind of how I think about it.
Okay. Tom.
Yeah, I see it as a doer of things, guy that gets stuff done. Again, multiple trades. Maybe you got a little plumbing, a little electricity, and maybe a little trim or something like that. Doer of things.
Jack of all trades, multiple trades, doer of things. All right, so let's ask probably the top 0.05% of handymen in the country. Let's ask Matt, what is a handyman? If someone asked you.
After all this, I honestly don't even know. We've done too many things, and I don't even know what it is. It's complicated.
It's complicated. It's good. All right, so
old Facebook really.
That's really good because all right, jack of all trades, doer of things, multiple trades. It's complicated. The guy on the ground. It's complicated. So I think a reason why. Two things. A lot of good carpenters, right? And we're gonna go through that real quick. Don't like being called the jack of all trades. Okay, that's one. Two, it's complicated. It's complicated because this is its own trade, and it's not identified, respected, or treated as such. And that's again not a gripe. It's just not valued that way because it's so broad and so vague. A proper handyman is more like, to borrow a term from a guy Matt and I used to work for, a house mechanic, a doer of things, multiple trades, someone that fixes your house, right? That can embody many things. Drunk guy on a bar stool for $20, go screw in a doorknob, or someone like us that has invested their life in tools and knowledge to be able to work on a house. What does work on a house mean? All right, so real quick, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to let the guys actually give you the meat of the thing, the detail of what we've sort of, seen, the fact of how complicated this really is, right? So you become a carpenter most likely, or you're a guy that works for a carpenter. Now, I was a carpenter by trade in the union, blah, 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 blah. I didn't finish the union because it was mostly bullshit by the time I got there, right? Or you're an industrial installer, okay? You're not a woodworker. A carpenter is a trade, like an electrician is a trade, like a plumber is a trade. A carpenter doesn't touch electrical. An electrician doesn't run a saw, and a plumber does not wire a fixture. Going by the old school rubric of how trades work, right? Inevitably, a carpenter cannot become licensed and exclusive like an electrician or a plumber or an HVAC guy can. Okay, just how it is, right? It's too vague, it's too broad. The reason why the union became kind of bullshit is that now not only are you having to have the knowledge of framing, now you do concrete, now you do drywall, now you do tile, now you do office furniture systems, on and on and on, right? Your natural path as a modern day carpenter, unless you stick to I do only trim work. I do only custom built-ins. That's a carpenter. I only frame houses. That's a carpenter, right? A very capped carpenter, you're only ever going to make so much money doing that, right? But if you're a carpenter of wit and knowledge and you learn how to, say, run jobs, okay, so I evolved from union work to residential work to shop work to then independent residential and commercial work. Well, you learn how to run jobs. By nature, you work for a guy like Bill that Matt and I used to work for. He touched everything. He would do the minor plumbing. He would do the minor electrical. And before you know it, to be competitive in your own little market as a contractor, right? Your only real evolution from carpenter to making money and or being independent is becoming a contractor. You get a contractor's license. Is that exclusive to a carpenter or a house mechanic? No. Any asshole with a check and an insurance policy can buy their way to becoming a contractor and then provide labor, subcontract work for a job. Guys like us are crazy, right? And we want to solve all the problems because we have this base of knowledge. We can plug in a subcontractor, an electrician, a plumber where we need to. But we end up evolving to this thing that is like a house mechanic because we have to have an all-encompassing knowledge of a house and how to fix it. What we now see, right, we've boiled this down, what is a handyman? Well, now, all of a sudden, like, a handyman is a trade in its own right. And if it's respected and treated properly, respected on both ends, respected by the guys providing the service, as well as the homeowners and clientele receiving the service, right? If it's actually a professional thing, you have to wear so many hats, bring so many tools, bring so many years of a variety of knowledge, a doer of things. It's fucking complicated. It's not, I come in and I do this. I have this amazing tool to sweat pipe or to fit pipe. I'm not like knocking a plumber, but you can really find your niche there. Whereas with us, like, the niche is broad. You know, you're not just installing and you're not just sticking to your one trick pony thing. We have to take this breadth of knowledge and experience and boil it down to one guy or maybe a guy or two that shows up at your house to, yeah, fix a hole in your wall. And frankly, like, it's not the most glamorous thing, right? But is it worth any less to have someone show up and properly do it? I don't think so. So anyway, what is a handyman? I used to hate being called a handyman. I was a builder. I grew to this thing. I hated being called a handyman. Now, I like being called a handyman because people don't know who to call for anything, and who comes and saves the day? A handyman. And if he's good, he's a superhero. That's what Matt is. That's what Tom is behind the curtain. And that's what I am in my own right. We solve problems, period. And how we decide to compartmentalize that so that we can do well on low ticket, low dollar, small time frame jobs, right? And then provide a framework so that now handymen and other guys that become handymen and perhaps end up joining our bandwagon can be respected, paid properly, and be able to put themselves in a place to succeed because they say, okay, this is what a handyman is. This is what I do. And this is what we're trying to define. And half the reason why we have this podcast at this point. So I'll leave it at that. So, but on the ground, all right, so all that, I just wanted to define the evolution of how the hell you get here. Like, if you're worth a shit, if you're just some guy that wants to try some stuff and figure shit out, okay, you can grab a paint roller. Fine. But how did we get here? All right, so that's how I got here, through the traditional path of a carpenter or a guy working on houses, this amorphous trade. And we're trying to make it not amorphous. We're trying to make this an actual trade or make it recognized as such. And that's what our business is built around, I think. You know, so what have we done from the beginning? Think of Matt in an attic. Think of Tom in a pond, and think of what that has now boiled down to. What have we done to make it from amorphous to something well-defined? How are we approaching more defined?
Matt, you want to go? You want to start?
I don't really know what to go with there.
I think about, I hope this doesn't get us too off topic, but I think about what my dad told us one of the first days that we started, and he told us, you got to know what you do and don't do. And we're a handyman company. What do you mean? We'll shave your cat. We'll do anything. whatever for if you pay us, we'll come be the best that we can. And literally since the first day, we've been battling even in our own minds about what is and what isn't a handyman, and we go through these days like, where does the line of specialized trade and handyman start and stop? And where do you know as a homeowner, like, or a customer, Mike and I might have very different opinions than what Matt and Josh might know, like, for example, we get a big job request for us is fencing, and it makes sense, right? That seems like a handyman should be able to do that. But what customers don't know is that fence companies source fencing material really cheaply, and they have labor that specializes just on installing and repairing fences every single day. That's all they do. So they can sell it at a very discounted rate, where Matt or Josh are doing 45 different jobs in a month span, and fence might be one of them. So that's a tough thing to define a lot of times to even the customers, even me as the person who sees all the requests first when they come in. I even struggle with that sometimes. Where does that line start and stop? I know what we're capable of. I know what we are and are not permitted to do, specifically, with electrical and plumbing and HVAC kind of stuff. But I think we are continuing to try to define what it is a handyman doesn't do. And our recent breakthroughs have shown us that the answer to that is every guy's got their own specific skills, and every guy has their own strengths. Every guy has their own weaknesses. Just with the two people who are sitting here on the podcast, Matt and Josh are as good at what they do as anybody I've ever met. There's Josh jobs, there's Matt jobs. There's jobs that we're not sending Josh to. There's jobs we're not sending Matt to. That doesn't make Matt or Josh better or worse than one another. It's just what they do and don't do. And the ability for guys to be able to showcase what it is they do, and how can you empower them to be confident and to continue to do the things that they do that are clear and repeatable. And also maybe there's this other section of stuff that like almost every guy does. And that's kind of what we've developed here over the last 4 months, give or take.
All right, so you're getting closer. So Matt, like, what has helped you in that the idea that, like, all right, so even within the carpentry trade, like I said, like there's framers, there's this, there's that, like no two are necessarily the same, but what have you been able to figure out, like, as far as defining your role and your job? Like, what did it take from the idea that we can solve everything to we do these things really well? Like, what has helped you with, like, like our menu or like whatever you've come up with that's like systematic? Like,
It's mostly being equipped. I mean, having the van was a big start, and then outfitting it with the different trades, and then having the hardware necessary to do the things I run into a lot. Sourcing materials, it honestly is like my head spins trying to think about last week or the week before or this week. There's just so many different things that happen, and it's like what I want to do always is just make the customer happy. Try not to take things that we can't actually perform, and people that try to make expectations realistic, I think, is a big part of it. Try to make sure that we take jobs that we can build a realistic time frame for, whether that is 1 hour, 2 hours, or 4 days, and then be well equipped for that job. Set the customer up to know what it is they want and the things that they need that they're personal, like what fixtures they might want. I think that's a big part of it, making sure they're prepared for the appointment. And once it's on a schedule, it's like, that's easy from there. Like it's all the lead up is the hard part. The figuring, it's like trying to come up with a solution to the figuring of it all is tough, because you have a lot of different people, whatever. We might have a week where 75 people contact us, and we have to sort through and be like, well, 20 of those people have no idea what they want. They are unclear about what the problems actually are, and they just want to talk to you on the phone for 30 minutes. And if we talked to 20 people on the phone for 30 minutes, do the math, that's 600 minutes. That's 10 hours of time in a week that you can spend on, right? Did I do that math right? That is a lot of
Yeah.
time you're spending talking to customers before you even made a dollar or booked an appointment. So much of what I think a handyman is now, if you actually want to be profitable and create a real business on it, is how do you equip yourself so that you're prepared? How do you sort through your customers so that they know what it is they're getting themselves into? And like on your end, it's on you to make sure that they know what it is the service is, but also you put a lot on them to make sure they know what they want and what they need and give them that little bit. And it's like we're trying to do more and more of that through the website so that they're prepared for the appointment beforehand. But when I have a customer that I show up, I'm kind of all over the place. But if I show up at a house where the customer's got like the faucet they need here and the light fixture they need there, and they have their list actually written out on paper, and it's like I can do all these things. It's easy. But like if 5 of the 7 tasks are things that are on our service menu where I'm equipped for those things and they have the thing that needs to be installed, the last 2 things, I'd say 75% of the time I could figure out how to fix. But if the request we get online is only 3 things that aren't on the menu and they're unclear and I'm not sure, like I can't know by that thing needs a caulk. We literally had somebody say the other day, like, oh, this needs a caulk. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, how do we dissect this thing? And I'm sitting here like an idiot, like, all right, this person needs help. But I'm like, but there's 15 other people on the list that need help. I'm going to go attack the person that actually knows what it is they want, and I can actually help, because that keeps our business alive. So it's like you go from being a pleaser as somebody that, I want to help everybody, and it's nice to make people feel good and make them comfortable in their house and be professional at what we do, to, instead just fishing for somebody who might need a problem solved. And at the end of the day, you get there, you can't do anything, and you made $0. You just wasted a pile of time. And I think the entire crux of this entire problem just comes down to wasting your time.
Big time. And so like when you think of it that way too, it's so when you figured out, even though it's still obviously everything's a work in progress, but is customer education and putting things out there as much as possible to allow them to understand what they need to do to make us most effective. And it's like, so we fall into this weird category of like all this adjunct work that a contractor would do as a result of. So like you're doing a job for somebody already there. Sure, I'll do that ceiling fan. Yeah, I'll patch that while I'm here. Or like, and it's all the stuff that people like, just by nature of like, of what contracting and like renovation is, a lot of this is like residual stuff. Okay. So it's typically handled by a contractor. Say I'm doing your kitchen and you need a toilet and yeah, that light fixture's bad. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it while we're here. I got my electrician, or I'll just do it or whatever. And inevitably you end up not getting fucking paid for it, or you do it to keep your customer happy. And then customers get acquainted with like, well, a contractor just does that. And I'm not knocking contractors. I'm just saying, like, as part of your business, right? Like, what'll happen is you either address these things while you're there doing you're doing a big dollar job for several weeks to months. And then that same customer calls you 3 weeks to 3 months later. Hey, can you come do my ceiling fan or fix this hole in my wall? And you want to, and you say, oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, I got you, Susie, whatever. And you forget. You're
on to the next job.
And then they get upset. And then they, what's that?
You're on to the next job. You're on your next kitchen job, which, that's your priority.
Right. Yeah. And it's occupying all your time, and you're shopping for these people, and you're working on that project, and you're making your living, and you would love to help everybody. But the beauty of art, so then your only other option is you find some like low dollar guy to maybe come do it. But what we're trying to do is like, no, all these things that fall through the cracks, like they don't fall through our cracks. And kudos to us for spending all the time to like get back to people, figure things out, talk on the phone, do estimates, blah, 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 blah. But what we've also been able to do is hone in on a basic standard of what any decent handyman should be able to do, and try to package that as clearly as possible so someone can go online, say, okay, I need some basic stuff done, right? I need curtains hung. I need that thing fixed. I need a light fixture replaced. All right, it takes about this much time. Okay, book a guy, half day. We look at it. Hopefully we mitigate the interaction, because like Matt said, all this back and forth, it all costs, but it doesn't cost you as much when you're in the middle of like this high dollar project and you've got these resources, right? But when you're a targeted service company, you you've got to allow customers to understand that in order for this service to exist, you necessarily cannot spend extra time discussing small ticket items. The best thing they can do to get a service like ours and for our service to exist is follow our system, be very prepared, and it's our job to educate them and display what we do so that we can be most effective, right? Because like we're trying to fit this niche now. It's a broad niche, but fit a niche that is in between. It kind of catches everything that falls through the cracks of like a contractor or home remodeler can't do. And you don't want some knucklehead from TaskRabbit to do for $60 because it's your house. Like it's your house.
It's a good tattoo idea.
What's that?
Broad niche.
Broad niche. That's good.
Anyway, but you talked about basic too, like your basic service, and all I hear about constantly in people's houses is, yeah, I called this handyman and he was asking me if I had screws, and it makes me want to pull the hair out of my head because it's like it just makes it so much harder to get people to understand. Like we're trying so hard, and then once they see it, they get it. They get it every single time. Like it's been in like 1,000 houses. I don't know. It's a whole lot of houses, and it's like once they see the process and it works, unless you're just angry. Like, people are just appreciative. They like what we do. They're like, it was easy. Like, I called one person, they showed up, and they did everything they could do. And then, like, when there were things, like, they explained to me why it couldn't work or, like, what else I needed. But, like, when we talk about, like, the most basic service menu things, there's still a lot that goes into those things. And preparedness is so much of that.
Oh, tons.
And when you're working out of a Hyundai Elantra.
And that's why it's...
Yeah.
Right.
That's why what?
And that's why our job is like we're creating and trying to attract people like us that know what the hell they're doing, but also like to be independent and maybe see a future in like, I don't want to break my back and carry giant bags of concrete all day and remodel a kitchen for 6 to 7 weeks because I don't care how much your customer loves you. By week 5 of that 6-week kitchen and they're doing their dishes in their bathtub and they're eating pizza for the 7th day in a row, they hate your guts. And they want you out of their house. Also, they want that ceiling fan added for free. And they want to move that fixture, but also, can you get this done and get out of here? That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
and I don't like that paint.
Been there, done
I don't
that.
like that paint
That's
color.
great. But there's... I don't like that paint color.
Yeah.
Can you redo this? Also, I need you out of here. Because my kids are driving me nuts and my tub is full of dishes. That's real. Like, you see the foil plates, like, dishes stack up. You know what I mean? Like, they're... You can warn them as much as, oh no, we love you, it's great, yeah, okay. Talk to me in 4 to 5 weeks and see how you feel, right?
Day one, they made you a
Not
nice
because-
fresh pot of coffee. Yeah.
Whereas, Matt goes to Mary Ann's house, okay, she's already got 3 choices of dishes, also custom-made mugs because she loves us, and a blank check for whatever we want to do, and she'll hop in the van with Matt and go to Home Depot and pick out whatever she needs because she trusts us, and also we provide a solution within the means of what we actually can do, right? So our job, right, of this, a doer of many things. It's complicated. There you go. Those are awesome.
Also, Matt's sitting in front of the fermentation station too.
That's right. What's in the red jar?
Fresno's.
Hell yeah.
Are you making peppers?
Hot sauce.
I'm making a pepper.
Pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked the pickled peppers. Hot sauce, nice.
Fermented hot sauce.
It makes sick hot sauce.
Yeah, it was 40. It was 40
How many?
messages yesterday, by the way. 40.
Is that all?
How many Scovilles, Matt? How many Scovilles?
40 unique.
Like more than 9?
Okay.
Toy called. This one, I forget what this one is. Christy, what was this one? Ahi Charapita. This one's stronger.
Ooh.
It's got that orange color. You could tell it's like it's really hot.
You got those are peppers you guys grew?
Yeah. Yeah. There's more in the other room.
I don't know. It's awesome.
Just take a camera and follow Matt around for the day. Just take a
Yeah.
camera and just follow him. Study him in his home. Study him sorting garbage. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. Study him cutting cardboard up.
Yeah, if there was a trade for that, I'd be. If there was a union for cutting cardboard, I'd be. I don't even know what's a high up union guy, a shop steward. I don't fucking know.
I mean, that sounds like a fantastic sport. We can have
You'd be a foreman.
the trade Olympics. You know.
You can cut cardboard and vacuum. I'll pack dumpsters,
Yep.
and we'll win.
Yep.
Like they got like the not the log jammer, you know, the lumberjack competition.
Yeah, except it's like
You know?
the Billy Madison.
If they had like personal
decathlon.
trade skills, if they had like job site skills competition, like we'd murder. It wouldn't even be a question.
You know, I was thinking about the what's a handyman question too. It's also an HR representative. It's also you know, a payroll specialist. It's also a state license like
Compliance officer.
audit company. It's also a tax accountant, you know. It also knows everything about sales tax because you're supposed to charge sales tax with handyman work, but nobody in construction actually charges sales tax. I don't know if we're allowed to say that, you know, so you got to do all of that. What
They're not on top of it, and they get whacked.
Yeah.
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 It's just a thing that can eventually crush you.
All that to be said is that, okay, so when you have the quote unquote luxury of owning a mid to small sized construction company, where the fuck that is, a wizard, just another fucking brand of wizard, right? But what you might be able to afford a part-time office person, right? You might be able to afford a bookkeeper. You might be able to afford, you know, I dabbled in paying social media people and whatever. And like, so anyway, part of this whole thing that you can't have high cost administrative and back end for quick, low dollar sales, calls, jobs, right? That's a disconnect. What we've been able to do through the magic of the internet and the wizard of Tom and Matt Oz and all of our brains combined is figure out a way to cut through all this bullshit that we've had to deal with, right? Because what we found is, okay, our next move with a local handyman company with 3 vans on the road in one area, the Jersey Shore, 1 van in another area in Central Jersey, right? The only way to grow, to actually, you know, make a profit as owners, is like, well, we got to grow. Well, that means we got to buy more vans. We got to buy more. We've got to pay for more advertising. We got more tools, more insurances, and all that to say, like, we're doing this in house. Like, the administrative all happens in house because we're nuts, and like, but we're trying to figure it out. And what we've come to, this is not a sustainable business necessarily. I'm no business guru, right? But the numbers say, and the sweat equity and stress and time involved say, this is not a sustainable model like a plumbing company with 20 trucks. You drive past the plumbing company, like, goddamn dumpsters, they got an office, they got chairs in there, they got 20 trucks outside the door. Okay. They have high margin work that is repetitive. You're not going to get a guy with 27 years under his belt, a guy with 22, I don't know, years under his belt to show up for a $500 call and expect that you're going to also be able to pay an administrative staff for your advertising, right? So what we're working on is trying to consolidate all this into a system that like helps an individual shine, that like, this is what we've really figured out what a handyman is. A handyman is a guy that doesn't have time or capability to run a real business. Now, you can do just fine as a one-man show with low overhead and, let's be frank, doing cash work, right? But you're going to be people-pleasing, you're going to be run ragged, and you might make an okay living. But if you want to actually, like, focus on what you're good at, like Matt and Tom said, like, we're all different. Like, I can do what Matt can do what I can do, but there's plenty of things he can do better and more efficiently. And there's some things I can do better and more efficiently. But we're not the same, we're just not the same person, right? Much like when I was in the union and there'd be a list and like, all right, there's a framing job, there's a trim job, there's a concrete job. Josh, Mike, and Tom are next on the list. Well, this guy's better at this, that guy's better at that. Well, they would parse out the work if they could to send me on what I was good at, send Matt on what he's good at, send Tom on what he's good at, because that's just the nature of the beast. You might be well-rounded, right? So the nice thing about what we're working on is like, you can be you. I can do doors and outdoor stuff mostly, right? Matt can do bathroom makeovers and electrical fixtures and the things that he really likes doing, right? Other guy Mike can do week and a half long deck and bathroom remodels, whatever he likes to do. And we also all have a basic service menu that when we have availability, we'll go do this stuff because a handyman should be able to do that. And it's real easy. And it's honestly a nice little cash flow generator. It's pretty cool. And we're working on, instead of one person have to do everything, let's solve all the everything that makes him suck at being a businessman. And let's try and filter this out and put that person in their lane. And yeah, like keep a basic rubric of what a capable handyman should be able to do. And that's starting to work. It's starting to work. And what it allows for is like, you can be clear about what you charge. You can not be afraid to charge what you need to make a good living and keep your business sustainable. And then work on creating the shared resource pool where like we do all the nitty gritty. Like what we're doing is solving the nitty gritty of what sucks about running a business, wearing too many hats. Why running a small remodeling business can really take its toll on you. You can be profitable, but you're going to spend every minute of your waking life doing it, right? And what we're trying to do is like all of a sudden we're like, whoa, we're billing the money we want to bill. We're all in our lane. Is it perfect? No, but we're not working 6 or 7 days a week if we don't want to. Sometimes, yeah, you got to put in a 6th day. You got to work a Saturday. Big deal. But that's not the formula. The formula is like, let's work a 5-day work week. Yeah, we know we're going to have to invest a couple extra hours at the end of the day here and there. Maybe a few extra hours to solve some problems and come up with estimates and do our thing. But we've been able to funnel it down to where like the individual guy can make it very manageable for himself with our sort of like guideline that we're working on, right? So we're in the process of this. We're asking this question today because we're trying to figure it out too. It's like Matt says, like, I don't even know where to start. He's like, he's right, because it's too much. He's figured out way more than he knows if you're an outside viewer, because you can see what he's done, right? He's boots on the ground and through repetition figured out how long just a variety of odd projects take, right? What he needs to be effective. What does his van need to be equipped with? And this is the type of like knowledge and time spent doing these handyman jobs, right? We're trying to take this information so that we can cultivate a group of other good guys and make them good. And that's really our whole goal, is to keep figuring out, defining what a handyman is so that we can find more of them and make them good. Like that's our goal.
Yeah. Man, I'd love to go off about what we built, but I don't know if we should do this now, but like I'd love to. I'm so passionate over the last 2 weeks of just doing a lot of homework and a lot of research about what we've actually solved, because I think that the question of what is a handyman and what is the handy dog system is a little bit different of an answer, you know? Because since we've taken the phone number off the website and not picked up the phone and encourage and borderline even nudge people to be forced to use our system, everything's better. Our schedules are getting filled out. When guys have random openings in their schedule because something gets canceled or because a job had to get moved around, they'll wake up the next morning and their schedule just automatically get filled for them. We got a booking yesterday or this morning at 2:30 a.m. Nobody had any clue. Brand new customer. We've never talked to them before ever. And they just booked service. And Joe's going to go and install their 2 exterior lights. And Joe's going to go there and go do the job. And the other thing we've done is we've kind of defined exactly what we do with the jobs, and we base that off of what our current team can do. It's still in very much the infancy, but we're only doing estimates for those jobs. So therefore, our estimates that we go on, we have a better idea. Matt, Josh, Mike, Joe, they have a better idea of exactly what they're looking at, and they can have a real conversation with the customer, guide the customer in the right way. The customer has appropriate expectations then. Matt and Josh get done with the job. They write it up. It gets sent out. The customer makes a decision if they want to do it or not. But everything is just so much smoother than what it used to be because, hi, this is Tom from the Handy Dog, 30 times a day, and me having to explain out loud in a very long way and honestly take some punishment every once in a while. Oh, that's priced too high, or oh, I'll find somebody else to do it. My uncle will do it, whatever. Or just people, it's just out of their price range too. And that's okay. It truly is okay. Like, I wouldn't use us for everything. I wouldn't use us to carry furniture, call somebody else to carry furniture. Like, you should use us to do real stuff in your house. But we've developed this system that I truly believe that my job in the office has gone from, a 4-man handyman team with 4 unique vans. Okay. My job went from being stressed out for 9 consecutive hours every single day to pretty much 1 hour a day. We've saved 8 hours a day in an office person's time for our company. And yes, that means that we have to have private conversations with each guy to answer some of the questions, but we've funneled the work down that quickly in 3 months. Really, truly in 3 months. And it's groundbreaking, and I truly believe it's time to share this with the world. Like, that's what I think we're building. I think we're building the software and the booking engine that every guy who does work on somebody's house should use. I truly believe it.
Here, here.
That'll be another episode. The entire system.
Monty Hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't have to solve it all right now. I think we did a pretty good job of establishing what we're working on as far as what the hell is a handyman and what have we done to sort of figure it out, and what this trade looks like. All right, thanks for watching and listening, everybody. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Don't get too specific about the nature of your particular house problem, but maybe, a particular question for Matt as a boots on the ground, Tom in the office, Mike behind the camera, or me as just some shot construction guy. Whatever you think. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.